Welcome everybody to the OCRL Race Report. I'm your host, Jeff Baki Jr., alongside my colleagues in crime right here, Scott Ickes and Jason Gaines. How you fellas doing this evening?
I'm good.
Oh, feeling pretty good tonight.
Good to hear. After a week off, we've got a lot to go over. In the house tonight, we've got Jesus Andrade, who scored his third consecutive win in the Nationwide Series. How you doing tonight, Jesus?
I'm good. Still a little tipsy after last night's race.
I guess you are. Hell of a celebration down there. Your third consecutive win. Explain to the fans and everybody here on the race report what it means to you as a driver to go 3 in a row after the slow start that you guys had.
Wow, it's a pretty extraordinary accomplishment. If you look back at how our season started, it was really, everybody asked, "Where's Jesus? Is Jesus a driver for JRM?" And all those comments kind of thrown me off. And then after I renewed my contract mid-season, I guess it renewed me. And ever since Charlotte, yes, if I'm correct, Charlotte, we won that race on fuel strategy. Then we came back the next week at Dega, and we had, I can't remember exact races, but after I renewed my contract, it was just a pretty extraordinary. It just like a switch lighted up, and I guess it just keeps bringing wins, and the team has had my back all season long, and I can't wait for next season and the Sprint Cup cars. Should be a pretty good start next season.
Yeah, and you're hoping to have a better start next season, but right now still focusing on this season in the Nationwide Series. You have your best finish up until these 3 consecutive wins was 4th. That came at Phoenix, and you looked to have a strong car, but you just fell off late in the going, and you had a lot of bad runs, a lot of DNFs, and that wasn't good, but you strung together a lot of good runs. 3 consecutive wins, of course, is good. And you've rallied yourself up to the 4th place in points, and you're just 2 points behind the 3rd place. And I know it's got to be a lot of pressure on you to try to get there with the rest of your teammates to have a JRM 1-2-3 sweep in the standings.
Yes, like I said, I think when Charlotte came around, I said I'm just gonna race for wins. I'm not worry about the point situation, and just go out there, have fun, go for wins, and have a hell of a time with my teammates. I know Jason's leaving next year, and I've had a blast with him the last couple of weeks, just working with him and spending a lot of time with him, and it's pretty extraordinary.
And speaking of Jason, he's also announced publicly that he will not be returning to Junior Motorsports in the 2011 A Sprint Cup Series season. And you had some rumors going around that she was going to be racing for Sadler Foreman Racing. I don't know how true those rumors are or how far that had gone, but of course now with the stipulations going on with that team and the uncertainty of its future, Jason, can you give us a little insight? Maybe your fans want to know anything that you can tell us possibly about your future.
Well, the future right now is kind of jumped to a different track. I've talked to Sean, and the way things have went down over there at SFR is kind of sketchy here lately, and things have kind of went a different route from where I thought they were going. So I'm actually in talk with another team right now. It's pretty much finalized. I don't want to really let it out there because I'm not sure if it needs to be put out there just yet and cause any kind of ruckus or anything. And not that it would, but just wanting to stay focused on the task at hand right now, and that's just winning a championship in the Nationwide Series if we can. But I don't. It's not that I would ever regret leaving JRM. Those guys over there, you and Jesus. I mean, I couldn't ask for 2 better teammates ever in any online event. So it's going to be hard to leave, but I think it's something for me personally I need to do. But who knows what the future holds.
And you mentioned staying focused. Tuesday night you had a real strong run. First, second, most of the race after starting on pole. And late in the going, you had the fastest car, or so it seemed. That the times had said that you were the faster car. You were running Jesus down, who was the leader at the time. And we get to the last round of pit stops, and maybe had a mechanical failure at the brakes, maybe it was driver error, and you spun it out getting on pit road, lost tons of time, but you stayed focused, you stayed in it, and I don't think that's a lot of... Your fans need to take away the good of what happened Tuesday night. You stayed focused, you stayed in the race, you did the bet, you never gave up throughout the entire deal, and that just goes to show that you're a championship contending driver, and that's a championship contending team. What was going through your mind? I know you were upset because you didn't want to talk to me right away, but you came around and you agreed when we had our team meeting later in the week. You were accepting what had happened. You're ready to move forward, and the guy's been trying to get the best equipment possible for you to go to your first trip in Richmond. But being that the points deficit was cut a little bit, is there any added pressure, or is it still, if I can just get through Richmond, Homestead's a lock?
Well, no, nothing's a lock in this league. Everybody's seen that. I mean, we've got too much talent here to ever consider yourself a lock-in for anything. But yeah, going back to Tuesday night's race, I didn't want to talk to anybody after the race. I beat myself up a lot over that. I mean, that's something that I very rarely do, is spin out getting on the pit road. I mean, it's just plain and simple driver error. There was nothing mechanically wrong. I mean, I've never had anything mechanically wrong from the cars I get and the stuff that they put into them. So it's just something that I did. It's a driver error, and I'm trying to move past it and stay focused. It's hard to do in the middle of a race when you feel like you've got a winning car, but I mean, I don't want Jesus to take anything away from himself, thinking that he didn't have a dominant car, because he did. I mean, me and him both were very close. I mean, we pulled away quite a bit from the rest of the field, and it was fun. But I would have liked to come out there with a win, but I'm going to keep my head high and move on.
And that's what you got to do in this league to be able to run successful, is to keep your head high and move on. And that just, it goes to show what kind of person you are, and it's honestly great to have you around, and I'm glad, despite you leaving my team, I'm still happy that I'll be able to race with you. And segueing over, staying on the silly season topic, we're going to go to Scott, team owner for King Crossover Motorsports. Scott, we heard an official announcement that Steve Anders, who was planned and rumored to race for your team, he made a statement this past week, and he said that was one of the teams that was not on his checklist, so to speak. So I want to know, the fans want to know, we assume that Corey will be your teammate in the upcoming season, and we're talking about the Sprint Cup Series season. Is there, have you been looking for other drivers, or are you trying to do the two-car thing, or how realistic is it that Corey's going to be your teammate?
Oh, I mean, definitely Corey's going to be on the team. As long as he wants to be there, he's going to have a ride. He's been such a great driver for my team, and it doesn't matter whether it would be Nationwide or trucks. He's always done really good for us, so he's definitely going to be on the team. I mean, in a way, we were sad that we lost Stevie, but in another way, I was kind of happy because I didn't really want to announce this, but we have been having kind of money troubles lately. So with him leaving, I was able to sell some of the chassis and all the equipment for that car and get some money so that me and Corey can race and not have to worry about having to finish good. It can just be, we know we have the money to race, and we can go out there and be worry-free. So I think we're just going to keep it as a two-car thing right now. I mean, I'm able to manage him, and he's able to contact me real easy. So we'll see how our first Sprint Cup season goes, and if it goes good, we may consider three, but I think for right now, we're just going to be a two-car team.
And race fans, let me explain something to you. King Crossover Motorsports, although it's been in the league for a good bit, it's still a new team. I mean, you got to consider it's been around a while, but they've had very limited starts. Of course, that's why Scott's speaking of the lack of money, because when they do run, it was on a part-time basis, except for this season in the Nationwide Series, I believe is your first full-time season. So I applaud you guys and your decisions, and the best of luck to your efforts moving forward. And we know that you're going to be here on the Race Report week in and week out, so we'll be able to hear anything as it progresses. And if you're picking up sponsorship, have you guys sealed any sponsorship for the upcoming season yet for those cars?
We're still talking. I've been getting a lot of sponsorship offers for Corey's team because of how well they've been doing. A lot of teams want to pick up him. I've got a couple offers for my team too, so you're going to see some new sponsors once we get to the Sprint Cup Series. I don't know if we're going to have full-time sponsorship in my car, but I know for Corey's team we are. So, I'll keep you guys updated throughout the weeks about the team. But as far as it goes right now, we're just going to be two-car. We got sponsorship, and I know if I could afford other drivers, I would go ahead and get them because there's a lot of guys out there who are really good who don't have teams right now. So hopefully they get picked up by somebody and they can race.
And he talks about Corey having a great season thus far in the Nationwide Series. He's third in points. He's clicked off, I believe it's 2 wins. It could be 3. We're going to double check that. Yes, it'd be 2 wins. And he's been a solid driver all season long. He had some mistakes on pit road Tuesday evening that dropped him down to a finish that maybe he wasn't expecting or didn't want, but nonetheless, the team runs strong week in and week out, and that's just going to show what kind of team, a startup team that King Crossover Motorsports is. So again, very excited to see what you guys have in the Sprint Cup Series. And you talk about drivers who haven't signed yet. The OCRL put out a list of drivers that hadn't been signed, and 2 rookies come into the league this week as well, Joshua Furr and Marvin St. Val. Marvin Tuesday night had a real strong run, got his a top 5 finish, 5th place in his first ever start in the Nationwide Series. And Jason, I knew I was pacing behind you when he just about lost that car over there in 3 and 4.
He all but just tore his car slap to pieces. I was behind him. He just come off a pit road. I'm guessing the fresh tires, not being scuffed up, were just a little too slick for him and didn't really realize what it was going to do. But he drove it down in there in front of me, and I was reading the front symbol on the front of his car. I mean, that's how sideways he was. But I'm going to tell you right now, people in here might think he's a rookie and this and that, but he can drive because he saved that thing and kept it going and impressed the hell out of me, to be honest. I mean, that's just the best way I can put it.
Yeah, a lot of talent. A lot of these teams that come in here look for young drivers to pick up, carry under their wing, so that a lot of drivers come up and pick up new drivers to put under their wing, as I just went over, and to bring up to the league, to make their own and involve them, and to involve these new guys into championship caliber drivers. And Marvin will be another one. Joshua Furr, he has struggled in his starts thus far in the OCRL, but he went down to Kentucky and tested with him in the Sprint Cup cars, and I feel like he's got a really good handle on those cars, and would be another driver that I think that could fare well in the upcoming Sprint Cup Series season. And a lot of rookies coming in to the picture, so we're going to have a very elite Rookie of the Year class.
Yeah.
And
I'm really excited about that. Not to interrupt you there, but I'm excited to get these rookies. We haven't had a real rookie battle, or even any rookies really, in the past couple seasons, so it's going to be exciting to get some of those new guys in and see what they got for all of us.
Right, and it's going to be fun. I think the mix of drivers that we have, we're expecting a larger field than we're going from 12 scheduled starters to 16, and we've got 22 drivers that we know of that are interested in racing, whether or not and we have 16 active drivers in the league currently, so it's expecting to be a really good season. It's healthy right now, and Michael Gruby has also announced this past week that he'd be driving for Asylum Racing Team in the number 31 Caterpillar Chevrolet. And for those of you guys who don't know, that's Eric Mickey's team. Eric's been a real colorful guy in the garage area, to say the least. And to see those two go together is like buttering your biscuit, so to speak. Did you guys want to elaborate on that a little bit more? What you think about him going over to Eric's team?
I like that analogy, but yeah, that was kind of unexpected from my point of view. Last time we heard anything out of Racer, he was done and had other options and places to race at. But I, for one, am glad to see him coming back. The races that I did get to race with him, I enjoyed racing around him, and I'm glad to see he's getting back on the track with us.
It's good to see him come back. I really liked racing with him. He was always one of those guys that you could look up to in the garage area. You ever had a question, or you just wanted to discuss about the league or something like that, he was always a guy to go over there and talk to. So it's good to have him back, and hopefully he can do pretty good in the sprint cars, and we can have a pretty good season with him.
And Jesus, did you want to get in on your thoughts about him going over to a team that you used to race for? And we know that you had success over there, so it's good equipment, definitely. Do you think that Michael going over to this team, we don't want to say resurgence in his career because he's had a decent career, but he's been off the map a little bit, and I know he's looking to come back in this thing and run for a championship. Do you think that's a good move? Do you think that's a realistic goal for him to go for a championship, being that he's with the team that is capable of doing that?
Yeah, anybody that's worked with Eric or has been good friends with Eric knows that he's probably got second or third or maybe even the best equipment out there. Michael Gruby going to Asylum Racing is probably, I don't want to say one of the best things he's ever done, but I don't want to say resurgence either, but kind of it brings that little spark back up, and I know him and Asylum Racing will be up there next year for the championship, and heck, I'll be darn surprised if we don't have a 5-8 way battle for that championship next year.
Yeah, it's going to be close with this new point system that we've been implementing in the Nationwide and Campbell World Truck Series seasons thus far in the seasons. But one thing that was also announced last week, and again we missed last week's show, was OCRL 2.0. It's a restructuring in the league. We're having new administrators, a new rule book. It's going to be a new league in its own. We're going to have the same guys. We're just hoping that all this new stuff is going to create a sense of renewal, and it's going to make everybody feel good, and we're going to hopefully have things that are going to be run more accordingly and more official, and just make it the way it used to be. That's the whole goal of this entire transformation, is to get this league back to its roots, and that's what we want to do with the old rugged boys have at it, so to speak. We've gone away from that, and it's been sloppy and corporate-like, but we want to go back to the down-home roots that we used to have back in the ECRL days. Just try to bring that over to the OCRL days. Scott, you were one of the drivers that was a part of that. I guess you could consider yourself an old-school driver. Do you see the difference in between when you first came in and then what we're doing right now? Is there a difference? And explain to the fans what the difference is so they have an idea of maybe what to look forward to.
I guess in a way, yeah. I have seen a difference. We have gotten to a point where we're a little more strict on things, and maybe we can go back to being a little more lenient. But I guess, there's guys in position that are in charge, and it's good to have those people in charge, but sometimes it's good to get a fresh new person in there. Maybe that everybody thinks, hey, I think they can do a little better job, and maybe they, in a way, respect a little more, and hopefully it just makes it better. I don't think anybody really cares who's in there. They just want them to do a good job. And once they feel like they're not doing a good job, we need to get somebody else in there who can. So, sometimes you're just going to have to rotate people, but at the end of the day, if we're having people that are happy and wanting to stay in the league, I think that's all that matters.
And just to clarify and give everybody an update, that we are hearing from officials that the new administration panel is just about set. They're looking forward to announcing these in the upcoming later weeks towards as the season comes to an end and things become more official. And it's just going to, I've got an insight of who the administrators are, and I feel like it's going to be a really good move for the league, and I'm excited for everything that's fixing to happen, and it's going to be a great season. That's all I can really recommend. If you haven't watched any of our races or haven't followed the league, you need to start doing it right now. Become a driver. It's right now is the best time because we've got a lot of good things coming up for the league, and I'm just excited. It's going to be good. But we're getting the dirty look from the directors over here, and we're running out of time. So just to close up on